can happen, and that's what I mean. The awkwardness catches up, but Lechi able to get Steelix and not phased by dipping in out of that water. That was a little bit scary there, Bala.
That it was, but well done from Lechi. Uncomfortable fighting circumstances, but Lechi is comfortable in all of them because of how much he fights time and time again. And for him, he's definitely trying to push in with the likes of Andalex, who we see on our screen in the bottom right. He's still alive because their performances at DreamHack, they've been dueling for so long. Lechi placed third at the Sweden events. Now Styler, though, on the aggressive right on top of this box. He doesn't quite find exactly where the player is, but there it is on the backside. There he could phase in. No, it's an edit from the other side. And a little bit slow now as he actually does escape up above in that box.
Gets the elim as well with the escape. Fast Roki goes down. It was a 73rd battle versus 24. And Styling, moving on in the rest of the way here. And then Delix, I've been looking at the feed here. Bala, I think our top 10 is almost intact. So we're going to expect some big names to kind of continue moving on. As you see, CRR Wolfies. These are the guys that are in the top 10 who want to have a great way in the middle here, Bala.
CRR goes down. Unfortunately, that's the end of him.
Whoops, my bad. I didn't mean to do that.
Take the spoils from that one. Because
Yes.
4ZR beams him from range. So now with that, an impact, a refresh for Wolfies. He gets his mats back up, but goes in the box. He's in the cone, yes, and he finishes it off too. Knows the HP situation, the information that he needed to solidify that onto Kylie. And Wolfies now looking very good for this one. And you talk about this is maybe the first time our top 10 might be a little bit more intact than normal. In this case, yes, this is the first time we're really seeing Wolfies at this stage of the game, at least today. But on the other side of things, Aqua is up on height again. Yes, we're still in that third zone, but potentially very soon we're going to reveal the fourth and we're going to reveal the fifth. And if he's up here again, this could be potential for Aqua to be going again towards the top of this game.
Aqua, the World Cup champion with Nyrox cheering on his duo partner here. Aqua trying to be, I mean, the stats don't lie. He wins every, oh my goodness. The deal gets the real deal hits from them. Aqua getting another elim, but Aqua is one of the most consistent players we've been saying throughout the broadcast. Almost getting 2 wins in every grand final that he's in, Bala.
Now that sounds, at the surface, very consistent. Yes, getting those wins important, but for Aqua, one of the things that's really bugging him and why he's not necessarily in the lead yet is that when it comes to placement game to game, he's actually faltering a little bit. Yes, he has those 2 wins. That pushes his average placement way up, but not really making it up over the threshold in a lot of these other ones. As Thomas HD picks up a big elim with the heavy snipe on the side of zone 2. Never mind. Thomas finds the gaps. Jachu and another one right in a row, and he might actually be able to get the refill from that too. The materials are still in that box. He's trying to find a way in, but I think he might just opt to stay right here as the 5th zone gets revealed.
The double bang bang from the heavy sniper. Tomas has been sniping everybody throughout this entire FNCS Invitational solos. It doesn't matter the range, medium, far, long. Thomas is one of the best snipers we have in the EU region. An upcoming star in the EU region is Moki. Moki sitting at 48 points, but catching, heating up right now. And I think it's just that confidence. She has the utmost confidence. We saw her vibing out in the cone a little bit earlier. And now she's trying to do her best to find another elim here. Just got revealed zone. She has it. Doesn't have to expend too much energy to get in terms of resources. But right now, she's looking to get into this box next door here, Bala.
Yeah, she's just waiting for that opportunity, waiting because everybody is definitely going to be trying to box in and tunnel in. She's not in like you pointed out, but with the time that she has on her side, she can not only wait for this player to go in at the same time, but if they mistakenly go right on top of her, that's an easy pickup with that cone edit. Catch her in the box. Wolfie's in the box with Benji, and he does escape just with his life. Moki in a dangerous field of players right in front of her. There are so many big names. Here's the pickaxe. She's staying in the floor, so it's phased, but no, Anas reads it, sees that yellowed floor, and immediately responds to Moki, who had a brilliant idea, but no, it doesn't work out. Anas, who's still pushing up with 130 points. That's why I was saying a dangerous fields of opponents.
So dangerous, and Thomas picks up another elim. Aqua picks up another elim. The top 10 are fragging out here in this lobby. More points are being thrown on the board, and Nas in 8th place. Aqua, where is he? On the high, no doubt, has a big dominant position. The power position here, Bala, as we see, as things are going to progress here. Wolfies is going to be very dangerous here, looking for more bites.
And this is it. Wolfies was playing such a good placement game yesterday, game after game. He had some of the best average placements over everybody, really, except for Janice. And actually, Airwalks, he did fall a little bit once he started getting the W key going, but he's back here in the end game. We're in 6th zone, and there's plenty of people that he's got to mow through and actually play for this end game, so we'll see. But this is where he thrives. If he can get that top 5 again, then all of a sudden, Janice needs to be scared. Aqua needs to be scared. And I don't know if I've seen Janice actually in this game, but besides that, obviously Aqua on height, he picks up another one. Wolfie is getting aggressive, but he pays for it because he's down now to 82 HP.
Aqua and Nas picking up elims, so they're keeping up pace. Can Wolfie keep up pace? This 2nd place FNCS squads with Mongrel, Benji, and Nate, so we know he is the champion caliber inside here. Wolfie's trying to prove that he could do it on his own here in the solos, and Nas actually goes down, Scully goes down, and Wolfie picks up a big-time elimination on Milan.
That he does, and now moving forward a little bit more. He's got the room, but not really the materials. Only in 6th zone right now, and with only 20 builds, this is definitely going to be a tough rotation, but he can make it in this 6th zone. It's just a matter of finding one more elimination. That's why he's hunting so much. Andalex goes down as well. Here it is. Heavy snipe in the box, and he makes it work. Yes. On to Black Heat, and that is what he needed. Now 64 builds, and also the launch pad. Janice still up in this game, though, and Tayson too.
And Savage is in this game as well, as the lobby is now making a way down this elevation here. Janice sitting on the low ground. Norward up there as well. Drobin in a good situation to take advantage here if he has the flops. Vibin trying to vibe as he pushes in. Taking a look at the feed. Hen goes down. The Dark Horse has been eliminated. Vibes looking in hot. Has the opportunity to get this elimination here if he wants. He goes for the edit. Peanut butter and jelly. Gets the elimination on Lucia. Now Vibes right now sitting really solid, but he needs that impact. He needs some loot here. He's very low on mats, and that's it. He's all done, so this is going to be an opportunity just to sneak into the box, and he does. Gets Lysen right there, and he has the grappler there, Bala.
He gets the grapple of the AR2, but a mistake just for a moment. He is going to grapple up towards height. I'm wondering who's up there, because Vibes right now has the opportunity to really do something in this one, but only 7 builds. He can't really contest too much if he did go up, so Ops to drop down, but the RPG too, there it is, Mr. Savage goes down in 8th place to the hands of Vibe. A harpoon from high ground too, that could be huge for whoever that is up on there to grab a couple more materials from that impact.
All eyes are on Vibes right now with the rocket launcher, but all eyes as well should be on Aqua. Where is this man doing? He is on fire with the power position here, Bala.
That he is, but Janice takes it from him. He yoinks the high ground with a nice retake on that one, and we could be setting up for a 1 versus 1. No, Janice actually gets him. He falls to the zone, so we're seeing Janice possibly now overtaking, possibly going to get his first win, too. Cammy takes another one. It's a top 3 situation, possibly even setting up a 1 versus 1 between the former duo partners of Janice and Tayson.
This is a big time. We got 1st place, 4th place in the fight. Cammy is in here as well. This is going to be a high time here. Victory Royale imminent here. Top 3 situation. Cammy with the defense on Tayson. Now it's a 1v1 Bala.
1 versus 1, here it is. This is going to slow down a little bit because the old builds in the mountain, Janice is going to take advantage of that. So plenty of time to breathe for Janice, but I want to see his materials. I want to see how much he actually has left in the tank. Same with Cammy. Obviously, he just got that elimination down low. So it all is right now, Janice trying to open up these sightlines, trying to get a little bit of damage onto Cammy. But there's floppers and slurpfish for Janice, so this is what he's playing for right now. This is all it takes if you get in these situations. If you go into it with a setup as grand as this, there's almost no way you can lose this, but you never know where this zone takes you.
It is Cammy who's coming from 22nd place, going against 1st place. No doubt this is a monster game for Cammy, as doing all that he can to get Janice at the high ground. The flops were a key factor, as Janice predicts with a big-time hit against Cammy.
Well done there, knowing that that grappler's still possibly in play, so Janus keeps aware of everything, and that will be his first win, even though he's been standing at the top of the leaderboard strong since day one, and he still holds on with that. He must be over Aqua, and I mean so many different influential elims in those final moments there. Janus taking out Aqua in the zone, taking the high ground from him, Zeke. That was insane.
Let's not forget, Wolfies was in there, and all three of your top 1, 2, and 3 players just made it to top 5 in that game. So they are still looking to hold their placement points there at the top. Gentlemen, we have to take a look at the standings. Game number 3 did not disappoint. Things are shifting. Players are making moves right now. No one is safe. There's players like Savage as well that made their up there. Guys, this is... I knew this was going to be hype. I did not foresee this, okay? But let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the standings together. Let's see what has unfolded. Janus there with the Victory Royale holding that number 1 spot, 229 points. He's pulled out ahead of Aqua. But look, the top 3 have not changed based on their top 5 placement, Vala.
And Janus, though, is doing exactly what he needs to do. He was placing very consistently in the top 5 yesterday out of 5 out of 6 of those games were top 5. But what he wasn't doing was really following it up with elimination. So now, not necessarily always getting those top 5s. Obviously, he's just got the win, but also backing it up with eliminations. That's key. He's actually caught up with the likes of Aqua, with the likes of Wolfies, who slayed out yesterday. And so that's why he's at the top. He's doing exactly what he needs to do to hold on against the onslaught of other players.
And a lot of people are doing what they need to do. Tayson still holding on to 4th place. And Nas going up from 8th to 5th. CRR coming up from 8th. So many people are doing that. And Mr. Savage is lurking in the distance as well. So all these players are doing exactly what they need to do to make sure they secure the bag.
Yeah, Mr. Savage coming back up. He actually, in the first game, went up to 11th and then fell back to 18th and now back up to 11th again. So swinging back and forth, but still there's potential. And again, I said that was basically the turning point, and this is exactly what they need to do there. Lecce also boosting up. We're seeing a lot of different people starting to middle a little bit more, but still there's potential. Martine, 23rd. Remember his pop-off performance in the last game. He's rising up. Rezon, too, who came 2nd in game 1. There's a lot of players still trying to come into the mix, and we still got 3 games to go, so still more potential. But at this point, we're really looking at that top 3, that top 5 area starting to solidify themselves.
Yeah, and then it's rather big that Janus does pick up the Victory Royale just in case Aqua kind of gets up there a little bit higher and it goes down to tiebreaker. You know, Aqua already having a 2-1 lead in the Victory Royale category, so it's going to be very interesting how that unfolds. And we're taking a look at the rest of the board. And a lot of you out there rooting for these people to be successful, and they, trust me, they have that opportunity. They can. Do not falter on your favorites. They could have that pop-up game like Mongrel. Mongrel got caught a little bit early in the early game. Sebi had that opportunity, popped off in the day before. Moraine, a former champion. You know, all else can happen. Anything can happen, and everything's on the line here. Bala.
And you're right. I mean, it really can. A good game is 50 points. Right now, top 10 is basically 120 points. So even down to this with the 70 points for iDrop Mage and other players like this, with one good game, it will push them into that top 10 area. Obviously, the top 10 also going to start accruing points too, so they need to push the pace, but still potential, still room to actually play for 3 games. Again, I can't stress that enough because we're coming down to it. Zeke, there is still room to play.
There is, man. 3 whole games. And I mean, just to talk more about that top 5, Janus, Aqua, Wolfies, and Tayson have been holding that down for several games in a row now. But when we look at Anas in 5th place, the difference between 5th and 1st is literally 90 points. Janus is 90 points ahead of 5th place, who is Anas. A lot of these players are still, it's not over, right? With 3 games, we watched earlier on Janus in game number 1, I believe, was eliminated right off the spawn. So anything still goes. But a lot of these players toward the back, they need to find that juice. They need to put everything on the table and look for these eliminations, look for these placements. Moki had a great showing back there. She went for the eliminations early game. She tried to make placement. Unfortunately, she went toe-to-toe with the Nos, who was prepared for it, right? He was waiting for her to open up that wall. These interactions are so crucial. And now that we're kind of moving through the tail end of the competition, these little mistakes, these little advantages are going to play even more of a role in the final standings.
100%. And Zeke, you pointed it out while we were in that game, the engagement between Moki and even Vortex here in 72nd. They're so consequential on this leaderboard, because before this, Moki was actually slightly behind Vortex, but with that one elim, and then obviously playing a little bit more placement for that, she pushes over that player and stops them in their tracks. So really, it all comes down to so many things. But you're right, Zeke, when we go back and think about that top 3, when we think about the 90 points that you mentioned about Janice over the top 5, that starts to make it a little scary for anybody who's trying to get towards the top, because if he continues to extend that lead, he's basically cutting out so many people who can actually contest him, who really matter for him. So for Janice, he essentially does not care about a lot of people who are still in this tournament. He basically only cares about that top 5.
I mean, Janice
go ahead.
I just gotta say, he now holds the record for the most top 10 finishes all across the regions in grand finals, Zeke. So yeah, the guy knows how to play.
That's literally what I was gonna say, dude. You got it. Let's go, Sancho. Dudes, I mean, with this kind of a lead, Janice has just pulled out so far. I mean, he's got to hold on to it, right? I got to feel like at this point, the only people that can even look to contest are that top 5, right? But Aqua is not letting him go. He's still holding pace. He's just a few placement points, 22 points behind him. I mean, what needs to happen here for Aqua, for Wolfies? Yesterday, we saw Wolfies pop off in games 1 through 4. He just went so elimination heavy and made those top placements, but he fizzled out toward the end. So what do these guys need to do to get back into this?
Oh, we didn't necessarily see too much of what Wolfies is, I don't know, his strengths were getting towards that end game, because yesterday he was in the top moments, but when we was doing it, he was basically just going for placement, so we didn't actually quite see too much of that. So I think what happens is he is good at those impacts. Just that one game that we saw there, he wasn't necessarily finding it, not necessarily finding the elims that he needed. For Aqua, though, I think he's basically doing what he needs to do. He just needs to be careful of players like Janice taking the high ground late, which is what he did, remember, against Mitro in that first game. So plenty of opportunity. He just needs to hold on and basically expect things just like what happened in the last game.
And also, I got to take from my friend Austin Creed says, you got to race your race. And all these guys are racing the race. And Shayo says so himself, you got to keep doing what you're doing, because you never know. That fifth circle, that half in, half out may fall on you, and things may go your way, and you have to capitalize on those situations. If a grappler falls your way, you have to capitalize on that situation, and you can contend for the Janices out there, for the Aquas out there. I mean, you earned your right into the top 100, so you time to show out.
Yeah, and Aqua's doing that, by the way, which is why he's up at the top, because every single time he has a position on edge, when he gets that zone, he capitalizes hard. I mean, you saw the win yesterday and the win in game 1 today. This is exactly the kind of thing that he does. He sets himself up for success. Yes, sometimes it doesn't necessarily fall all the way down towards a win, but every time he's putting himself in a good position, he tries to basically get all these external factors away, right? And just focus on what he can do and what he can control, and that's how he puts himself in potential to get really massive games.
And I think what it really is a huge advantage is that fish landing, Zeke. I'm sorry, but I mean, Booga was uncontested in World Cup for the long time, and I think no one messing with Aqua up there, and he has the ability to get all the flops that he wants, the slurp fish. And, you know, when you're using those fishing holes, you may pull out something, a power weapon, and you could upgrade. That upgrade station that he has right then and there is so huge for Aqua.
And I got to think, like, when we look back at the previous weeks, it was always that question, like, Aqua, Nyrox, where are these guys? They're not toward the top. What do we expect? Like, did Aqua just pull a fast one on us? Was he like, oh, yeah, just ignore me, don't worry, and in grand finals, I got you? Because that's 100% what it feels like. But we'll have to see with Janice on top, with Aqua right behind, who will take the crown with only 3 games left to go. Let's get ready to jump into game number 4 of the FNCS Invitational Grand Finals.
3 more to go in the FNCS Solo Invitational. It's time to see how this goes, because we really just had a season of exciting games leading up to this. Every single weekend has been intense, but now we're getting down to the final moments. We got 3 to go, and it is still Janice on top. He's holding on.
Janice on top. I mean, I mentioned before during the little show right there that he holds the record for most top 10 finishes in grand finals across all regions. And look, we talked about getting zone, and dear Lord, Aqua, no doubt, is smiling right now looking at that first reveal. He's all the way up the north, and he has almost close to center, but now we're dropping down all the way to the south of the map here, and Blackie on the middle of the pack right now, try to become the leader of the pack a little bit. That's a long way to go, but you cannot count it. We always seen stranger things here in Fortnite. Anything could happen, and right now, Blackie's trying to make it happen, and this might be definitely Martine. This is the second fight here, different bout, a big crack, and it was Martine, and this is what we're talking about, Bala. You talked about the early engagements, the first POI engagements, the first safe house engagements, so important because right there, twice in a row, Martine's ride has been over.
And that's the momentum that unfortunately stopped by the hands of Blackie. He makes that work. Swoop on over to other portions of the map. Vortex near the agency, in between risky reels, and he's got himself a really nice loadout to start things off. And that actually might be enough for him to decide he wants to W key into the agency for the early game fight that's still happening over there, but no, he's gonna stay safe, stay consistent, and stay on the side of the map. Basically just looking for opportunities, but also looking for fishing holes. There's so many here, and you talk about a reason for Aqua's success is being up north there, making it easy for him to get so much fish, so much loot, and that's... And this is another spot where it's just so good, but 94 players up, Sancho, if you're wondering. It took maybe a little longer to get into that game because how we watch these with the replay system, it actually goes off of when the elims happen. They pop up and you can start to watch. But in this case, everybody playing so passive, and this is peculiar when you think of grand finals and how they've gone in the past. It's been completely opposite. Players starting to get a little bit more desperate in playing in that direction. But no, this time, we're seeing bloom fights on the side. 94 players up. This one's definitely going to go to its completion. Maybe the only one in the map. Nice comb from Vortex. And still trying to pressure this wall.
Vortex. Nice. Oh, my goodness. A little like a flip of the stairs right there, Bala, and gets that E-limb. Vortex sitting on the upper side of the bracket now. He's making his way up, up, and up. As we see Wolfie's, this is a, Wolfie's, I don't know, he's always felt like he has almost a free drop here. Riggs is almost split. Now he has an engagement. We did see Martine go down. Could Wolfie's go down here early here, Bala?
Yeah, he could, especially with that heavy sniper in the box. It's eye drop, by the way, which I don't believe was dropping here on day one. I think it was only Kaiser in this case. So Wolfie's having to deal with a little bit of a switch up. No materials now. He has to work with this. He has to make this happen. And no, he doesn't.
My.
Eye drop. Will definitely make that work, and now Wolfies is going to be sitting in the lobby for quite some time, wondering how he can make sure that this fight at the rig is going to go slightly different, or maybe switch things up, because he's only got 2 games left. I talk about 3 games left. Wolfies is out, and he can't even close the gap between Janice or Aqua in this game.
And this is the continuation here of those early engagements. Now it's Anas here who's on the back foot. Wolfie went down. Anas, number 5 here on the leaderboard, could go down early. So we're going to see a shakeup. And there it is. The shakeup has begun here, Bala. Frenzy finally beating Anas here. And what a bad opportunity for Anas to go down to Frenzy.
That was literally in 2 fights. We see the 3rd place and the 5th place go down. And this is something that you talk about when the community is talking about, getting a spot on contested. This is the risk you run, because now you don't have this opportunity this entire game to earn any points. Frenzy Fishy has lost that fight against Anas most of the time they've engaged. I mean, we've seen it on this broadcast at least 5 or 6 times over the games that we've watched, and every single time Anas has come out on top. This time, though, one time, that could be the most consequential time.
Yes.
Anas falls. And now he has to wait, just like Wolfies in the lobby, to see what Janice, Tayson, Aqua are going to do to continue to rise that gap.
Yeah, I mean, the last game, the top 4 stayed alive almost to the end of the ride here. As Savage is riding out, vibing out with the Travis Scott. Gets a couple of hits right there. The 125, you've been kind of flip-flopping from 11th place to 18th place, back to 11th place. As Drop picks up another elim. Drop may be catching fire here in a moment here. As Savage is moving up the natural high ground, sees this opportunity. These are the opportune times. You never know. That could result in a 4-point right there. And the reason why we say it's a freebie is because not a lot of resources are being used besides the ammo. So Savage is looking really great with the kit, has the harpoon, and now he's sneaking up here looking for a third-party opportunity. Gets a couple of white tags. I don't think he'll pad in here, but he might. Ooh, he almost got that elim, and it got yoinked from him, and now Savage is going to draw some attention here from that low ground on the right side there, Bala.
Look how the actual momentum has shifted in terms of aggressive plays.
Right.
From the early game, it was a lot more passive. It was players making sure that they get their drop, you know, and not really going to one chest or another. No way. And that was the player who was actually fighting him at the yacht yesterday and throughout week 2. This time, Red Rush at a different spot. Mr. Savage, unfortunately, falls in the same path, and a heavy snipe from that Craggy Cliffs Research Center will make Mr. Savage pay, and another player falls who is really trying to push their way up.
The ripples of these elims are coming tsunamis on the leaderboard as Leshy picks up another one on Fanta. Fanta going down to Leshy. Leshy's might get a 2-piece here. This is Leshy's opportunity to move up on the board. He is at 12th place right before this match. So now Leshy looking in hot, gonna get the opportunity, get the high. Right now, gonna poke right on in, just almost gets right in. Now he's going to go ahead and move around here. He has a great time. He has all the resources in the world to hold on to. But the third party here, Bala, is sniffing right now. Lechy, is he going to go down like the others did in early game? We already saw Anas go down. We already saw Wolfies go down. And it's Benji here contesting this fight.
Oh my goodness. So many big names. And Lechy immediately, as the third party comes in, tries to back off, but Benji doesn't let go because Lechy building in this wood, that's a sign of weakness for Benji to drop right in. And for somebody like Lechy, who we just saw Mr. Savage go down, they were right next to each other on the leaderboard. So he has the opportunity to actually overtake in that case. Thankfully, now that Lechy has that brick base, the metal base, Benji will opt to back off and try to just farm up on that bridge. But the rest of the lobby, a little bit more quiet. Airwax in the distance. Vortex, who we saw earlier, have that epic tac shotgun right next to Mage. It definitely could be a box dive in the making. Ensar continues to get early eliminations, but I don't quite see him yet pushing up into that top 20. So he has to capitalize on those and really make it either a lot of elims or push up into those placement points. Milan in the distance. All quiet right now. And this is very much. Yep. Exactly what we tend to see in these later games. And Vortex is actually going to get on top of Mage in the cone right next to him. And I think Vortex knows. Yes, he pickaxed it just to get that visibility. And he's going to dive on it. This is Mage with the drum gun. Got to be so careful with your Vortex. Nice shot through the stairs. He does box out. He still has control of this wall. Yes. Now that is what I talk about when I say piece control. Trapping Mage in the box on the backside. Grabbing every extra wall when it breaks. Well done there from Mage, and I think I just heard the grappler come nearby him or right around him. I'm definitely worried now if that grappler shows his position. The lobby tends to drop right on top of it.
Now it's Putrick who's worried right now for Lechy knocking on the roof. Very aggressively trying to find a way in, poking and prodding. It's the footsies games of Fortnite. And that is a big-time strike, 140. It's a matter of time here as Lechy now is going to be uber aggressive here, going Ultra Instinct now, trying to get inside of this box. Bang! Big hits right there on Putrick, and down he goes. Actually, that's Swaggy. Swaggy goes down by Lechy.
So Lechy does solidify the gap over Mr. Savage with that one elim. They were tied before that, so now Lechy takes the lead. So he pushes himself up to 11th place. There's Putrick in the distance. That's a mobile player, yep. Mitra lurking nearby. You got to be careful. He does get the advantage on that one. The favor went in his way with that AR. He does have the grappler, so it definitely was just hearing things back before. Mitra in that first game, he got that 3rd place. And now trying to really push up another one there. Nice walls on the side. Almost gets it all. And oh my goodness, that is such a difficult shot down below and underneath. He pounces quickly and takes out Lucia.
Benji goes down in the elim feed. Benji looking for an opportunity to climb up. losing the amount of games to do so. We're about the halfway point here of the grand finals of the EU region here. FNCS solos, and Mitro has a great opportunity to grapple himself up their leaderboard right now. He's at 25th place, and knowing that the top of the board is already out of this match is going to be a strong opportunity, but Lecce is a lot closer to get into that top 5 situation, and I think Lecce knows it. Looking at that Elim feed, he's going to put Glory right back out of the server here. It is looking really good for Lecce, and the recipes for success are really high for this player here, Bala.
That was just disgusting from Lecce. He reads his opponent perfectly where he's going to go, and if you want to push up, if you want to catch up to that first spot, he's doing what he needs to do. He needs to get elims not only in the mid game and in the end game. But for Lecce, it's been that placement that's kind of faltered for him because of how aggressive he is. He's kind of actually switched spots with his former duo partner of Wolfies in terms of like who plays aggressive, who plays passive, because
right.
Lecce throughout his qualification for World Cup, it was end game eliminations that really put him up there in the best players in the world. So we'll see. He has to definitely shift a little bit more towards placement, but with the standings how they are, with being in 11th place, he's got a lot to work at to catch up to that top spot, but still could work against Wolfies and Aqua, who's still sitting in 2nd and 3rd.
Cammy coming in at 9th right now before this match. Only picked up 1 point so far in this one. He's going to look for another opportunity there. Almost hits. We've been seeing some nasty, heavy sniper shots here in the broadcast. Saw one yesterday on left eye. This is an insane far shot here. And the heavy sniper, a lot of the players, for those of you just tuning in, never seen its use, is also a utility item for a lot of one. You could kind of get inside of a box very aggressively. You could surprise somebody. You could catch someone in the heels. You could catch someone looking at their blueprints. And Cammy right now is trying to catch somebody using this corn peak right now and maybe get an opening dink into this engagement now. But man, corn fighters are the most dangerous fighters, I always say. Much more dangerous than bush fighters. Yeah! And the big 126 blue hit, and Cammy from the corn gets the job done. And now everyone says, wait a minute, there's someone out there fighting. I'm going to go ahead and try to get my freebie shots in. And Cammy now playing some defense, switches over to the hard mats, extends a little bit here. And now I'm going to safely med back up in the metal. But that was a nice hit with that heavy sniper there, Bala.
But he loses the opportunity to actually get the load out there. Speaking of Aqua, who's sitting in 2nd place right now, did get that 1 placement point, so now 208 for him. This is what he does. He consistently gets on top of bases, and oh my goodness, instantly responds against Jachu. Great awareness for Aqua, knowing that and hearing that Jachu is running up the stairs, perfectly plays that. But what I was going to say is that in this 3rd zone, he always tries to base up high over somebody on a mountain if he can. Because then, if the zone falls in his way, he has that opportunity to hold on to the high ground if he needs to. Obviously, if the zone doesn't go in his way, maybe he invested a little bit too much on this, but he just got an impact right on high ground, so he really doesn't have to worry about materials at all unless Jachu had nothing.
No doubt Aqua is one of the kings of the high ground. Lecce, partner of Wolfies, is trying to make his way up the board so close, and now he has Frenzy. Frenzy, who ruined the run of Anas a little bit earlier ago, trying to do the same thing, be the spoiler that it is. Lecce has some fire behind him, so he's going to try to do his best to drop it a little bit with the layer switch. And now he's just waiting to see what's going to happen here, looking for information. The information is needed that he has the player up there weak, but he has to protect from the 3rd party, and the 4th party's raining in. Bala, a lot of shots are raining in right now and almost going down, but Lecce now gets to the slow side of it, so he's not going to get any more bullets from the fight. Now he's going to focus laser in on Frenzy, who has been disturbing his peace.
And it's funny you talk about Anas actually falling to Frenzy. And I don't think we've seen Frenzy actually make it out towards the early game. This time, obviously, trying to make up for lost time in this. And he goes on the path where Lecce possibly didn't expect him. You saw Lecce wasn't necessarily playing aggressive on this one as the 4th zone gets revealed. But then he does go back right into his metal base. And yes, now it's going to be hard for Frenzy to actually break into this, but he's not letting go.
And Frenzy is just kind of try to cause a frenzy on this leaderboard, this shakeup. We're talking about someone down at 89th place. But hey, everybody's in this tournament is dangerous. and they have to be respected. And even though you may not have a solid run, you're still one of the top 100 players solo in your region. And Frenzy's going to say, I have the same skills as Lecce. And now Lecce, as the 50-50 goes between the two, but Lecce has the power and the will to survive and gets Frenzy right out of this lobby.
And it was fourth zone revealed in the time that fight was going on. Aqua did not get it, so that investment that he made may be a little too much. He's now going to have to redo that entire fight for that high ground, and he is going to come in on that north side a little bit. It's everybody else making their way in. Airwalks Marcus with a little bit of an elevated position. Here's Mitro, who can always yoink high ground if he needs to, but showing off that he has the grappler so early right here in this fourth zone. Yes, he gets on top of somebody, but that also might be the cue for Amplify to start box fighting him.
Mitro now taking a look at the low. Aqua does go down, so that change in position, that early gamble on the high ground, and as he was moving, he gets bopped. So now there's going to be a shake up a little bit lower. We haven't seen is Janice most likely still running around, so he could grow his lead. We're talking about a major lead, about 20 points or so. Mitro now racking up a lot of points as well. Does not have to worry about Storm Surge. Now he's just focusing, looking for people who are weak in the builds right there. And Kenzel goes down from Mitro. Every fresh build is an opportunity for Mitro to get an elim, and he's looking at any of those people who are trying to get those free rotations where they're not expending any kind of builds right now. So Mitro has a strong opportunity, investing early on the high ground, and it's paying off for him. Bala picking up another elim. That's 4 for the match.
And you pointed it out perfectly, looking for the fresh builds, looking for the reset edits where the builds are going to be very low HP so that that AR can chew through them and instantly get it. Elims after Elim, so Mitro setting up on high ground. He does not get zone though, so Lecce is the one who's going to win that. And with an Elim here, not too far away for Lecce, he's going to sit on a lot of materials, but he's not going to go all the way up. Just sets up that base for going up a little later so that it's fully built when the time comes. He's still getting aggressive. He's still looking for this. Yes, it's not his wall. He gets the cone in too, and yes, takes out Artur. Perfectly played, and he gains a launch pad from that one. And not only that, but more mats to build out a base. There's still not anybody really here. He throws up extra heals if he needs to. Possibly even take a RPG there off that body. What he's doing right now is trying to shuffle all the mats, all the items from down below up above so that he can have easier access to them if he wants to continue to build up and really take advantage of this fifth zone position, because as you see, players going to have to launch from the other side. Mitro now taking advantage of that. No launch pad for him, though. Takes out Flick of the Sky. Can he get another flick of the wrist to find somebody else? No, it's the grapple time. Just trying to get in the zone.
Trying to get in the zone. He has to be careful. Usually if you're using the grapple out here out in the open, it makes everybody look up and you could get beamed out of the air. As you can see, you are vulnerable, but a nice connection for Mitro, and he's at height, and he's going to turn around, look into the back of the circle here, and get a couple of shots in as the storm is pushing people towards him. Fresh builds is the green light, and beams are coming out from Mitro. Mitro has a great kit here as well, Bala. Doesn't have a lot of builds, so no doubt looking for that refresh, but he does have the RPG rocket launcher to shoot down anybody if they're going to contest his height, but no doubt that grappler is that kind of that X factor, the problem solver for a lot of these situations, and in the hands of Mitro is going to be very easy, as we see that Airwax got eliminated at 49th.
He's got it.
So a lot of shakeups on the board here, and Mitro, I think he has a prime opportunity to take advantage of that shakeup.
Yeah, Mitro has this. He's got the height really well structured here, and with the grappler, this is so easy to hold on. He also pulls the 6th zone right behind him as Lecce picks up another one down below in another box fight. Lecce is not stopping with the 6 elims he has, and again, getting a player coming into his box, inviting him and accepting him. With this epic pump, he's making it really happen, and he also has the mythic heavy AR. 39 players left now, and he also has zone. He also has this pulling a little bit farther north. Lecce, a big opportunity here to rise the ranks, because already he started this game at 120-ish, and he's at 147, so 20-plus points accrued in just one game so far, and it's not even over. Another one onto Frey.
Another one, Lecce. We're talking about the 32nd place of the World Cup solos. 3rd place at DreamHack. This is a guy that's been heating up, and as time goes on, and he finished 4th place at the qualifiers here, Bala.
Janice still up in this game too, and obviously Mitro still holding on to height, but Janice trying to push up, and Tayson actually lands right next to him as well. He does have to fall because he gets pumped hard, but I believe from Tayson, so it's going to be Tayson almost on high ground. Mitro, where is he at? I think still grappling above these players. Janice going to try to pop the med kit. That's huge. Top 28 right now. If he gets his health back, that's a lot more time that he has to work around zone plays. And Alex picking up another one too, trying to work his way up. There's a launch pad way down. He takes the risk to go for it. Yes, another pad, another ride towards more placement.
This is so scary, and he's going to go ahead and build on this tarp here. He's not looking good in the material department, does not have a lot of hard mats, so he's going to look for that refresh, and someone sees that he's not looking good. Building out of wood, you said so before, if you see someone build out of wood, that is a green light. He has to be very careful here. Now he's only has 3 builds. This is our first place right now in shambles, but can his experience and his skill set get him that impact elimination that he so desperately needs?
That he does. Only 3 builds. There's a player in this box. Yes, he gets one, and that's Tayson, his dual partner. Takes him right out and does get a couple extra mats, but now has to work through brick and metal. Can he actually pickaxe through all that med kit that he just took? Saved his life right there. That 70 health had so many ticks, now down to 10. He still has shield, but no, goes down to Droban. I saw Mitro still in the game. Possibly Letchi too. I'm also seeing Andalex popping up a couple times. There it is. Letchi down on mid-ground. Vortex is the one on height, but Mitro is going to contest with the grappler.
Mitro is on the high, and Lecce is very close to it. He does have a good amount of builds to take height, but I had no doubt looking for a refresh. He's going to have to use the old school tactics of cranking to do it. So Lecce right now, only 4 builds to his name. Has a nice layer. Now looking down below for some hits with these edits. Now he has the opportunity. He does see it. He's going to take a good hit on the back foot here, Bala.
This is where Lecce shines, these deep endgame situations, these shambles positions, the ways that he plays them, the tactics, the ingenuity that he goes through, the creativity. You remember his double trap to qualify the last 3 players in the game to qualify for World Cup. Lecce is a monster in these situations just like this, and with 8 eliminations, he still could rise way, way up.
He is looking for it, hunting for it. Lecce is going to have to do this like a low ground warrior, just jumping between other enemy builds, so he has to keep his head on a swivel. As the grapple goes off, he knows that that's what he wants right now, considering he doesn't have any builds. Cartoon goes down to Lecce. It's a top 3 situation. Grappler still, actually Lecce picks up the grappler. So Mitro did go down. Now it's Lecce's world. It doesn't matter that he doesn't have that many builds. He has to just navigate and grapple his way up. Batman to height, and he gets bopped right there by Skagen, who plays the Joker to his ride.
And now who's the last player? Skagen with 3 eliminations. It's 4ZR who's in this one. We've seen him a couple times in towards the end game. And now a 1 versus 1 for this one in game number 4. To make their stake known, to make it so that they have a chance. And he's got the drum gun against the grappler up on height. 4ZR trying to rise up. And it is going to be this final 1v1. Blocks out a little bit, but then the piece control. He gets the edit, gets the wall, also the cone. He still has mats to build fight this, and he gets on top. But no heals here, so it's not necessarily a full heal off. No! What just happened? 4ZR runs out of materials at the final second. I don't know if he just forgot to place the cone or what happened, but all of a sudden the blunder, and he falls, loses the 1 versus 1 against Skagen.
I could tell you that Skagen going all the way from 93rd, getting themselves the victory royale and the highlight on the main show.
Man, I don't know what happened there for 4ZR. It looked like he did have materials when he did land, so maybe Ball, you're right. Maybe he did just misplace that floor. You know, he even had the drum gun. He had everything he needed. Just a slight misplay there, unfortunately for him. So again, congratulations to Skagen, as you kind of pointed out, coming out from 93rd place. So again, it's still anyone's game. Everyone's looking to put up these massive performances. Let's take a look at the standings. What are they looking like after game number 4? Janice still holding on to that lead, still trying to create a divide between himself and Aqua, but Aqua's still the same point threshold, not letting him get far away. Wolfie's there in 3rd. Now look, Lecce, he jumped in, he started this game all the way out in 12th, and he says, no, this is not over. This is still something I have my eyes on.
Absolutely 12th to 4th place. Tayson kind of slipping a little bit. Analyx still in the running. Anas, you're seeing the penalty that it is. You go down early. You went down 5th to 8th. And as well, Thomas is kind of sniffing around the top 10. Rounding out is CRR. But we talked about it, Bala. Early engagements. The ripples could kind of tsunami and sunk your journey here the rest of the way. Mitro with a nice performance here. Now outside the top 10. Looking for a way in. And Savage. Now at least he didn't drop as low as 18. He still has that opportunity to get into the top 10 there, Bala.
Yeah, but with 2 games to go, I don't know if there's really too much he can say on
Dude,
that
a lot
spot,
happened
which
in these
we know
2
he
games.
likes. That they did. That
Yes.
they did. Airwalks goes down to 22nd. 4ZR moves all the way up to 21st, which I don't know where he was before this game, but I've got to say, he was actually 41st. So 20 spots in that one game with the second place that he got and a couple of elims too. But looking at the rest of this as well, I mean, you've seen the impact of a lot of people who have having these early game fights. Artur in there, one of those players. Vortex as well. Tiago, who's been fighting against CRR at Salty Springs. We're going to the last games, and now these guys really, I mean, I always say that people get desperate, but at the same time, people start playing close to their chests and kind of avoiding situations just like that.
It's going to be interesting to see who kind of mixes up their landing there. No doubt, you race your race. They're going to keep on doing what they do best. But man, I have to point you. If you're feeling that pressure in the top 5, and even the top 10, is like, if I lose my early engagement to someone who I've been winning throughout the entire way, and this is the time, I cannot lose this. So no doubt, those players who are kind of, maybe they're not feeling that pressure, they could kind of take advantage of those nerves and slay them out. So it's going to be interesting, to see who could kind of calm the nerves, breathe a little bit, and move forward.
That's right, guys. Well, that wraps up game number 4. Now we got to step away for a second, grab a slurp juice. When we return, we'll have the final 2 games of the FNCS Grand Finals Invitational from Europe. Stay tuned, Fortnite fam. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back, Fortnite fam, to continued coverage of the FNCS Invitational Grand Finals. Joining us for the last 2 games, we've got Sundown and we've got Clay Staling, the people with the 2 most magnificent hair of the group. Let's be honest. It's true. You know it is. Don't lie. You know it is. All right, gentlemen, we're gearing up for the last 2 games. The battle bus is being prepared to go. With 2 games left, we are left to wonder, will Janice hold that spot? Will Lechi try and contest? Well, gentlemen, it's time, because we are heading into game number 5 of the FNCS Invitational Grand Final. Take us in. Sundown, take us in, Clay.
Thank you so much, Zeke, and I'm excited to be here. The final 2 games out of EU, $120,000 on the line for that first place spot. We've seen Janice be the almost wire-to-wire leader, and with 2 games remaining, will his 30-point lead currently on the duos world champion Cooler Aqua hold up, or will Lecce and Wolfies be able to put together 2 heroic games in order to catch it? I mean, those are the 4 we're really going to be watching. Tayson also has an outside chance, but immediately hopping on board over at the Shark with Liquid's Mitro.
And Mitro takes a lot of damage right away, 25 HP. You see, just trying to get the shields off, but Fremont gonna take him down. So Mitro had an amazing run, but is currently getting cut short, as we do see Wolfies get an elimination there on the Wakey, so he's starting to ramp up as well. These eliminations have so much ramifications on everyone as we swap over to Benji versus Moraine here at Retail Row.
And Benji doing his best to try and get as many points as possible. Again, kind of pushing yourself up into that top 50. We'll have another pay bump as well. So every single point we've seen matter. And we've also seen players able to rack off a number of games kind of back-to-back quickly. Benji's fully capable of putting up a 30 and then a 40-point game to kind of get himself up right back into that top 20-ish mix. So we know he's capable of it, but the question is he able to put it together? Because sometimes when he has off days, he's not really able to get it rolling. Right now, able to get a nice cone replacement there, pushing forward into the box, gets the wall as well. Now it's just the ramp in between. This player doing a good job to constantly disengage, but you're only going to be able to run away from Benji for so long.
And that's not someone you want to be running away from. While not having the best performance today, he is still one of the best players in the European region. Heck, I'd say even the world at Fortnite. He is so good, as we see a lot of eliminations come through. Moraine continuing to try to hold these builds. Is Benji finally going to get the code there? The pressure now could continue to come. Builds going over into Benji's favor. Moraine trying to hold that angle. You see Benji just carefully piece controlling every little aspect of the site. You see Ennis coming through. Benji not going in just quite yet. This is a push and pull fight back and forth. You see Benji does hear Moraine make his way over to Old Bill. The shot's going to come through Moraine, trying to make something happen, but Benji going in and he gets eliminated.
Honestly, it looks like he either ran out of bullets there in the SMG or kind of panicked and opted to swap over to the pump when he realized he wasn't breaking through Moraine's shields there. But the big pump coming out from Moraine, ending Benji's run there. Game 5 going down. He'll have one more game to try and pull himself together, but it's effectively going to end any shot of really pushing himself forward up here as we now swing on over to Dirty Docks. We got Marcus just outside trying to lay an ambush for Lazen, I believe, who's on the other side, the Grizzy player.
We'll see if he's going to be able to do it, though. If the surprise element is there, and it is, Marcus going to be able to get the shot, and he does. 110 to this player. Shots coming on through. Marcus going to get another big damage, 79. This player is one shot. Marcus, all he's got to do is get that damage off. RPG shotgun coming on through. Lazen getting caught out. The ambush working. Marcus set it up beautifully, and he got the elimination.
And get another pickup from Marcus there, making sure, again, we've talked about kind of those almost Bugs Bunny X moments where you're just waiting around a corner, trying to like wait, stalk the prey, get the perfect moment, the 110 into the immediate cone to then follow it up with the 79 tag. Could have hit him with anything. A pickaxe would have done it there, but uses the RPG to explode the build and then lock right on with that tac shotgun. So good little follow-up there as now we swing on over. Again, this is the second place player, Cooler Aqua, way out over on the islands, but playing again kind of that fishing-esque strategy, relying heavily on floppers to kind of get himself into the mid and the late game, give him a little more wiggle room to kind of work around the storm and work with his placements, which I think is what's enabled to see him so often on the high ground. I mean, if you go back through the VODs, I'd want to say probably every one of his good games has resulted from him having either 6th or 7th ground high ground control, which you don't get without setting it up right now, without getting yourself the floppers, without getting yourself enough materials, without getting a rotational path and the stuff you need to contest and take away high ground. Aqua knows how to do this and knows how to set himself up for success. There's a reason that he's in second place right now.
As we swap over to Sweaty Sands, we see big names, Kiriachi, Mongrel, Lunif here, all names that are staple of the European region. We'll see if Mongrel, as we pan in towards him, is going to be able to make a dream run happen. He would need the biggest possible run ever, as he's at 72 points, so not that far away. It is doable, but it is probably the hardest thing he will ever have to do in Fortnite, as he's looking to go aggressive here on this player above him. The statistical probability of it very, very, very low, but if anybody could do it, I have faith that Mongrel could do it, as we see Noah Riley going down there to himself. We see Mongrel now trying to find an edit onto this player, 2 players above him as well. This could be a fight that he wants to get involved in, but it could quickly turn sour as he's on that ultimate low ground. But someone's actually going to come into his box. His shots coming through. They fell into Mongrel's area, and Lunif going down. This got to be Kiriachi above him, though.
And Mongo desperately needs these eliminations. He knows he needs as many points, and more importantly, he needs the confidence. Another player who kind of really plays on his emotions and needs to get rolling, needs to feel like he's better than the opponents when he's going forward. We've kind of talked about that before, and needing to have the momentum going. When that doesn't happen, you end up kind of in these situations where it's what is effectively game 11 of a 12-game tournament, and you're sitting on still double-digit points. Like, yes, it is. Actually, I don't think it's mathematically possible even for Mongo to win if he got pretty much every single elim going through. Like, yes, it would get him there, but at this point, he's 160 points off of Janice's pace. He's just trying to get as much as he can and kind of get whatever practice, and they stack lobbies and climb up into the next kind of tier of placements. As now we check on over with Wolfies. 3rd place right now, 188 points. The young player from the UK was 3rd place in the World Cup duos, or 2nd place, excuse me.
Yes, and I want to point out, Janice did go down. He has been eliminated from this game, so number 1 out. This is Aqua. This is Wolfie's chance. We saw this in that very first game. Janice went down early. He was not able to make any more points towards it. Did not get any placement this game. I don't believe picked up any eliminations as well. So this game, a 0-point game here for him. Aqua and Wolfies have free reign over this game. If they can make it to endgame and they can get those upper echelon of placement points where all those elimination points come in as well, this is their game to run. But Wolfie's being aggressed upon here. All of a sudden loses a lot of HP. Someone was out waiting in the woods for him. Shots coming through. Wall going to be lost. Wolfies with a nice side jump there. Does maintain high ground here. Able to grab it back from the opponent, but the continued pressure from them is going to cause him not to be able to heal. As you see the big pot in the inventory, he really wants this. But both players boxing on up now, going to give him that little bit of reprieve that he needs. And you see him. He knows what's on the line. He knows what's at stake. Instantly launch pads away.
Yeah, he's like, get me out of here. A very intelligent decision coming out from Wolfies, particularly because he knows that player's going to want to follow him, has the ability to beam him completely out of the sky, but he's also over at Slurpy Swamps, which means that the player, as we see now, does go north and away from him. The loss of kind of that white HP isn't a huge bonus, does have a med kit down there, but can also just hang out in the swamp. So a really good play from him there. And the key thing you talked about, you called it when we kind of looked over at that retail fight right away, as Lecce picks up another elim onto Noka. So now that Janice has gone down, this has only happened in 2 of the other games, right? There have only been 2 opportunities in this entire, or three opportunities, excuse me, in the entire tournament where Janice hasn't placed top 15. So him going down here is massive for the 4 players who are kind of behind him and in a very realistic striking range to get and potentially pass him, not only this game, but then to put the pressure on him in the next game. And all of a sudden, when you've gone from being top 15 every single game over and over, in a game where you only really need like maybe an elimination and a top 50 to kind of secure yourself the number 1 spot, you're one of the first 5 players to go down. Janice has to kind of be a little bit nervous right now. There's a lot on the line here. He's kind of led wire to wire the entire time, and we're going to see a lot of players with an opportunity to climb up that leaderboard. Anas being one who's just within that striking distance, currently sitting at 144 points. He was 8th place going in here, and you also see him using that new mechanic of throwing consumables into the zone to bring everything he wants with him, not taking too much excess damage, and he'll be able to bring those floppers rather than having to consume them. So a nice little advancement there, using the Chapter 2 tech as Mr. Savage will now rotate on across the gorge, and a number of players who kind of right around that 10 to 15th mark, all kind of stacked on top of each other here between Thomas and Mr. Savage and Mitro.
A very congested area. Going to look to get a little less congested there as Thomas, who hands down is one of the best snipers in the European region, not able to connect on that, has hit a couple. You saw one last cast there with that beautiful angle that he found, and he's looking for more angles here. He's looking to really get these opportunities Because if he's got that heavy sniper, he doesn't have an AR. He doesn't have an SMG. That's his long range. He's looking for that. He's got 55 opportunities to try to make something happen with that heavy sniper. And he needs every elimination because he was down going into this game. He was down that huge point threshold. So Thomas did have an amazing run, but it was a little too late.
Yeah, again, we're kind of talking about these are the players who are like just outside the contending range where like, yes, 2 back-to-back 50-point games will catch them up to Janice. So it's not necessarily in the realm of possibility unless you're really able to push forward and kind of get multiple streaks of eliminations in the late game. But with that being said, the heavy sniper, if there is a weapon to ever get you back in a game like that, it's the heavy sniper. If there's a player you want using it, as you talked about, it's Thomas HD. I think Benji put out a tweet recently where it's like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you had aimbot on your sniper with the amount you hit. Was able to play so incredibly well in the Cash Cup over there. But hopping on over here, Lecce, one of the key contenders right now, was in 4th place going into the game, looking to take some aggressive fights. Already cleaned up 1 elimination here, but a little bit on the back foot, sitting at 136 effective HP. Does sound like he's going against an epic pump as well, which can be absolutely terrifying here. You can see him making sure he's topping off in a mini to try and get up to that 150, but still needs to be very careful about this fight. If he's unable to clean it up here, it's going to put him that much farther off the pace. And this player is playing very aggressively right now, and if shots come in from the side.
When the harpoon usage as well, Lecce's not getting a chance to pop these. He finally does stick it as a shotgun shot going to come through. A lot of damage. The AR follow-up as well. Snappy got aggressed upon at the worst time. He was trying to get aggressive, and Lecce said, you know what? No, I'm not taking this fight any longer. I want to eliminate you. And that's what he does. He made on a moment's notice a very smart and good decision. And like Sundown mentioned earlier, that new mechanic being used very, very well here for Lecce.
Yeah, making sure he's hucking those floppers ahead, knows that, like, hey, I can just throw one of these over to the zone, make sure I get the health back up as we hop on over here with Andelix player who's in 6th coming into this. Again, just a little bit on kind of that outside pace, looking in, more fighting for the 2nd and 3rd rung here, unless he can string together a really impressive performance. But he does have a decent kit right now. The one thing you'll note with Andelix is he's not necessarily the most hyper-aggressive player. He's not somebody you'll see who will go for kind of those like big W key games, those big box fighting type fights. He's more looking to kind of get into a spot and exploit positional advantage and rifle. The problem is that makes it really difficult to kind of manufacture eliminations. You're not going to guarantee you're going to get a certain number of engagements. You're only going to guarantee that you're going to get a certain number of rifle shots off, which will sometimes translate into points, but other times you're just going to get shield tags or maybe some white tags on people, as we see right there.
And he's going to need a lot. Again, like we talked about earlier in the pre-show, he is not within that really big, he's 6th place. He's in striking distance. That's still a very, very good game required, as we see Anas here, another player that was nearby him as well, within striking distance. If Anas is able to make something happen here, able to really turn it around as he's getting some shots aggressed upon him. He does have a good amount of HP as the edits continuing back. He could make this game his as more edits going away from him. The player continuously taking him, more than likely looking for that little ramp flip there as you see it come through, as the RPG coming through, third parties coming through. Anas is stuck in a very sticky situation. He really needs to get out of this if he wants to keep his tournament hopes alive. As you see edits coming through, shots coming through, he's losing a lot of HP, losing a lot of builds as well, down to just the soft match. Everybody's shooting him, and Anas tournament hopes are on the line, and unfortunately right now he goes down. There's one more game, but that just makes it that much harder.
That's so incredibly tough. You hate when you get chosen by the lobby, particularly right around the water. It causes you to burn that many more mats. They saw the swap away from metal. Honestly, the second you see that happening, it only makes people kind of focus you in harder, knowing you're running low on resources. Thomas up there pulling a little Zate Classic, making everyone take the L. Styler taking it right back, but everyone just kind of hanging out right now. You can see 59 players still remaining, about to hit Circle 3, so the real story right now is, where is Aqua? What is he going to be able to do? And can he catch up and close the ground onto Janice? Right now we see Thomas HD trying to put that Brutus minigun to work in the close quarters, not really exposing himself from the sides, but needs to be careful because he does have a player now pushing forward, took the wall on the other side, going to opt to go up another level, saying, no. I want none of that. I need to survive. I need every single point possible. Again, Thomas with 10th going into this match, so trying to climb up that leaderboard to see where he can contest for.
And with Anas going down, it makes that much easier climb. Just a little bit easier for him. As we see Red Rush down there, Mini down there, Aqua, mid of your screen top. He is still alive in this game. So Janice out, like we talked about. Wolfie's still in this game for the time being. Aqua's still in this game for the time being. So many key players in this game. But will they go down? Will the slightest misstep make them drop as iDrop goes down? Thomas HD, though, you see him looking for that sniper shot.
He definitely tries to play around it. It's a big enabling weapon for him, whether he's trying to push through somebody else's wall or just pick somebody else off, opting to hop on in on this focus a little bit, making sure he's securing that extra angle with the wall to his left, and then just using the Brutus minigun. You see, does have 510 bullets, so the only thing that's going to slow him down is kind of that cooldown timer once you hit the max fire rate. But no elimination going to be converted there. Still continuing to just pressure around the lobby, as he did pull pretty much most of the zone, as did 90% of the players in the lobby. Check that bottom right hand corner. Pretty much everyone has already piled in around it, so don't expect a ton of players to be going down here on rotation. And as I say that, a sneaky little push from Thomas HD over the top, down the bottom, and lock it. You can go over to grandmother's house and queue up for the final game after this.
That was such a sneaky play, too. Just knew he was focused on that player. As we swap over here to Wolfies, who was in third place here. A lot of damage being put towards that player, but none of it really connecting there. He knew the other player was getting shot, and he does get the elimination, though. Tiago going down, but all of a sudden, Wolfie's stuck between a rock and a hard place, and the hard place is everyone else shooting him in the lobby, and Wolfie's going down. The third place going into this game is down. First and third are down. This is Aqua's game to run with.
Aqua has to capitalize here. You cannot take a chance given to you like this. Like, if you're Aqua and Lecce, who are just right behind these two, you have to desperately find points this game. You have to get to the end game. You have to manufacture some kind of eliminations if you want a chance to be able to contend for that #1 spot. Yes, you're already up there in the top 5, but it's about taking advantage of the opportunities you're given and maximizing on it right now. And you have been gifted such a huge one. First and third going down before even the top 50 has occurred. Rotating zone is coming through. Storm Surge isn't going to be too much of a threat. Only 2 players do need to fall, and with only about 6 who are over in the zone on the right-hand side already, we can expect a number to go down as Artur single-handedly takes care of that. A nice little double coming out from him as we're on board here with Andelix currently in 6th place. Another player who could look to rise up the rankings here a little bit, try and push forward and cause a little bit of commotion potentially in the last game.
And you see him prepping that launch pad. That's what he's looking for. He's looking for that clear flight path. You see him press it. Instant short pad in. Gonna try to get that little bunny hop there. Actually gonna get, not bunny hop there. It's gonna get stopped there as Mongrel gonna go down there to Martine. Andalex not right on the edge of zone is gonna be able to look back here and see all of these players coming on in. Very good rotations as we see Flick there in the meantime. We see Mage, Andalex, EMXXR, everybody there. Is Castery going to go down? Big elimination as well. Castery has been doing very well. As Blackie going to go down there as well. A lot of big names starting to fall in this lobby as people continuously putting pressure on them as they are on rotation. Aqua is up on high ground right now. And Dilix looking for that elimination as Lecce goes down as well. That was 4th place going down. So 1st, 3rd, 4th out of this game. This is Aqua's chance to take it and run.
And honestly, if he doesn't, that's probably going to really lock it up here for Janice. Nobody else is going to really super be able to contend for the last game if he's able to secure any amount of points. As we see Andalex now playing a cheeky little gatekeeper role in the full built metal towards the bottom. You can see right now Andalex doing absolutely everything he can to just manufacture some points here, up to 174. We talk about kind of how those eliminations in the later game tend to roll together if you're able to get a decent amount of positioning. So Andalex could look to push himself up into the top 5 potentially after this game. You have Thomas HD and Aqua up on height. Those are players who are both in the top 10 coming into this. We talked about what Thomas is able to do with the sniper, but as the zones kind of get closer together, it's less of a pick potential weapon where he really excels with it, and much more of kind of that universal key where you just barge in. But we're now on board here. We talked about it. This was Aqua's game to have an opportunity, but right now he is below Storm Surge. So, one above Storm Surge, as 38 players will be left in the lobby. 8 need to go down. Thomas does pick up Artur. Aqua currently just hanging out, wants to be able to play safe, knows he needs to wait for an opportunity, but also needs to play for as many placement points as possible. Trying to find whatever angle he can, and anybody is able to tag right now as Storm Surge still not quite going away quite.
It's not indeed, as you see 16 above. If this zone closes, he is going to be in an interesting spot because it'll teeter-totter back and forth. He's got to get some initial damage. A shot's going to come through. That's going to be a huge elimination. Actually, it's going to get stolen, and so unfortunately not going to be able to get the 4 points, which at this point is way more valuable than the loot he just grabbed because he is in a fight. He is in a contention for number one. He needs every single point that he can, as we see Frey going down there, Seventor going down, Hardvine going down, big names continuing to fall, but Aqua's still in this game. It's so huge. Savage in this game, as well as Aqua looking for high ground. He thought about it for a moment, realized he didn't have the builds there at all. We'll see if he's deciding to get a little bit aggressive here. Decides to box on up for the time being. Got a player in his box, trying to get involved, trying to get the action happening, but everybody just slipping away from his grasp just a little bit. Got a player in his cone. Is going to try to make an edit here onto him, but the shots did not go through enough. You see 23 players remaining. Aqua may be able to make something happen, but no builds remaining. He's dropping to the low ground, dropping into the zone. He's going to go for a flopper place, but going to get beamed from above. Aqua goes down.
Honestly, that was the misplay. You'll go back, people of VOD review that when everybody goes back and look. The misplay will be Aqua opting not to pick up that second pair of floppers and go for kind of a storm play earlier on. I think kind of dipping into the storm during that predictable time overexposed himself, but a good pickup from Flick there, as now we hop on over to Andalex. 181 points, trying to climb his way up the leaderboard, get himself into contention here with the top 4 players all going down. Zen Diablo picking up X-Squeezer over there. Right now, Andalex in a pretty good position on the low ground. However, he is hurting on builds down to just 11, and then the big shot in his back is going to hurt him a lot more because doesn't have any excess shields, no excess white heals, and that's Mr. Savage of 100 Thieves making a push up in there. We do have Thomas HD still hanging around with the Brutus minigun, but again, we talk about it, the weapon becomes less effective in the late game scenarios where everyone's right on top of you, and he gets pushed back. No white heals for him either, and only the 15 wooden mats. This is going to be really difficult for him.
Really difficult indeed, but he's using the Brutus minigun so well. Shooting out high ground from the edge of zone was so smart. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the mats to contest it. You see 5 players remaining, excluding him here. He's going to have to make a play. Drops down coming through. Is going to get the elimination there onto Nate. Teak going down as well. Savage goes down to Queasy. Big names have fallen, and Thomas is reigning supreme among them. And this could be his push. This could be the catapult into first, into third, maybe. First is a little bit farther than what he is at now, but this elimination that could come through, these placement points that could come through are so valuable here for Thomas. 4 already on this game. He's running out of space, though, as the zone starts to constrict. He really needs to find something. Player right above him. This could be a drop-down elimination for him. He does have that heavy sniper. He can make it possible. It's going to be King there on the low ground. We do see Queasy start to actually drop down. Queasy has given up high ground. That's going to be so huge. Thomas looking to make something happen here on the low ground. Still shots going through. Edit's not going to connect. He doesn't get up. Nice edit on the backside. Going back in the zone. Trying to shake and bake the player. Is going to get the elimination there. Onto King Boca as shots go through from the high ground here. The players trying to make this happen. Edits coming through, shots coming through. Thomas is going to be right on top of him. He does hit the 100, but he goes down. Queasy takes the victory royale.
Second victory royale of the weekend for Queasy, going over there with the 4 eliminations. Tough pump shots there from Thomas. Think if he had stuck with the tack, he might have been able to close that out with the HP advantage, but still a good second place performance from him. Going to continue pushing him up kind of towards almost, I think, into the top 5 threshold. It's going to be very, very, very close, but we're starting to see now that even when given an opportunity, nobody else has really been able to grasp it. Janice going down absurdly early, 0 points going through, and then just like flies, all of the other contenders pick up 1 or 2 eliminations here, 1 or 2 eliminations there, but no big runs into the late game. And honestly, now it's going to take a monumental effort for anybody to unseat Janice.
He does have quite the lead already built up. Of course, guys, we're going to take a look at the standings here in just a moment, but that's actually what I want to talk about is these guys at the top. It's like they just can't seem to get the ball rolling. They keep getting picked off before they can get anything really going to hold down the placement points. As we take a look at the standings right now, Janice is stagnant, right? 242. He was eliminated basically 80th in that last game. Aqua, we saw make a run, but a misplay there kind of halted that progress. The same with Wolfie's Lecce. You could tell he's going for eliminations, trying to balance the placements, but it's not working out for these guys.
So I think the real big thing to consider here right now is you look at the spread. I think it makes sense that Aqua and Janus have been a little bit more consistent in terms of their efforts there. Wolfies and Lecce is definitely playing a little bit more in terms of the aggressive, playing for the 4 points, going for the eliminations a lot more than the placement. You can see that just in the percentages of their points. But with that being said, you're taking more engagements than going through. That's why when Janus is able to get in the late game, his scores are very consistent. That being said, I mean, it is paying off for them, but realistically now, it's going to take an effort from pretty much any player in the top 5 would need a 60-point game, and him to flop again to even unseat him, as now we flip on over to the second page.
That is so close. 1, 2, 3, and 4 did not change positions. We did see 5th and 4th change there as well, as we're seeing a lot of different changes here. CRR continuing to fall down to 15th, Mitro in 16th, Scully in 18th, Amplify there, Snappy, 4ZR. Everyone knows these names. If you know European Fortnite, these are big names here for you. Martine there had that amazing pop-off game, moved into 28th place as well. But, you know, this is going to be where these players start to realize, okay, I can't win FNCS Invitational, but I can still make it into that top 10 and make a ridiculous amount of money for doing so. And that's going to be their motivation. That's going to be their drive for doing so. We'll see if Drobin, Mage, Sebi, Tiago, Mongrel are going to be able to use that motivation, use that drive to reset their mental in this last game, because this is it. This is where it matters the most.
So many players, guys. So many big names. All eyes right now are on Janus. Will Janus hold it down? Will Aqua rise up and pull it away? And Alex there, even toward that last game, had a shot. It's still anyone's game. Sundown talks about it best. A 53-point game, 5 eliminations, and the victory royale. We saw Martine pop off in an earlier game, 11 eliminations. These things are still possible. Quick thoughts, gentlemen. Do you think right now is the time to just run it and try to get eliminations and then slow things down, bring it to a halt, and play placements? Do you guys think they just play placements heavily and hope for eliminations toward the end game? Quick thoughts. Sundown, let's get it.
I think you stick to your game plan right now. Like you've seen with Wolfies and Lecce, the only way they're going to win is if they're able to run it with eliminations there and get to the late game. Like they're going to have to put the two together, but it's not like they're trying to avoid the late game. It's just the fact that they need to get the streak of winning kind of those 50-50 in the box fight trades, which is really difficult. But if you're Janus and Aqua, I say stay away from absolutely everyone else. It's the last game on the map. Everyone else is going to be looking to just be psychotic and get whatever eliminations, whatever points they can, and you don't want any of that. You want every single point possible. If you're Janus and you get 2 points this game, that's a 27-point lead. I'll take that.
It is, and I agree. In that top 5, you really got to play your game. If you're outside of it, you may need to start to shake things up a little bit.
That's right, guys. I'm getting word. Let's get ready to hop into the final game of EU and the FNCS Invitational Grand Finals.
Thank you so much, Zeke. And here we are. We see the spread out on the map. And right away, you can see, I'm trying to see where Aqua is, if he has any friends nearby. Looks like there is at least 1 or 2 players who are lurking, but he is relatively uncontested. Not exactly sure where Janus has been dropping or if he altered his drop spot going through, so want to hop on board with them whenever we get the opportunity to. But pretty decent spread, not too many early game fights. Initially, we've seen how players really prioritize kind of getting those uncontested areas, and boom, yep, there's Aqua right north of Craggy and going around his usual fishing route. So nothing out of the ordinary for him. He's stuck to the usual game plan, but he's really been kind of unbothered on this, so not too surprised to see that happening.
And this is what he needs. He needs his normal start where he can get his loot, not have to worry about that. Does have the harpoon to get those fish. So Aqua, and things in motion. The ball is rolling. It is in his court to catch up to Janus. And Janus, with that lead, all he has to do is survive. He doesn't need to go for eliminations. He doesn't need to play aggressive at any point in this game, except for in that end game, in the minute and end game, right? That's when he needs it. That's when he needs to start making the moves to secure the victory. Because if he's too passive, Aqua could overtake him.
I think, honestly, if I'm him, I am staring, and I mean absolutely staring at the elimination feed the entire game. Because if I don't see one of those top 4 players, their name popping up in there repeatedly, like getting eliminations, then I'm not fighting anyone. I am playing as absolutely as passive as possible. I see other players going down as long as I'm not threatened by Storm Surge, which hasn't really been a thing. I don't think we've actually seen it come through and detonate once the entire time in EU. We've just had the warnings. Then you're not going to be threatened. You have the lead. The onus is on them to do it. If you see their names go down, even more so, I'm not fighting absolutely anyone. And then at some point, you might be able to even just chalk it up and call it, hey, that's a good day. I can do whatever I want. I mean, we kind of saw that with Bugha in the World Cup final when he did end up going down in 6, but there's a moment there kind of in the top 15 where he sat back and he was like, oh, wow, that was nice. I think I just won this thing.
And that is what most players in first hope, is to see their competition go out with a fight at the top. As we move over here to Sweets, who's about to engage in a fight. Actually, he'll hold a little bit here. The mouse button discipline here for him, being very, 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 very patient. I don't think this is something I could do. I would have switched to that RPG and made something happen. As now, that's what he's going to do. He's going to try to scoot his way through, not trying to make any sudden movements. And then all of a sudden, I think he thought this player found him, but they still didn't know he was there until right then. Shots going through. He's going to challenge a heavy sniper. He does get the shield tag. RPG into C4 combo being used. Continued pressure here from XWeeze. We'll see if he is able to capitalize on this elimination as more RPGs going through. Shotgun shot going to follow up, but it did not connect. AR spray going to be used, but this rare AR not doing that much for him. This player making it through. We do want to point out Mongrel is getting an elimination in the feed there. Insar getting taken down as XWeeze taking a very risky heal there in the bush.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think you give up high ground in that regard, particularly without a spray weapon. Like, yes, the blue AR is strong here, but you're not really going to be able to get through some of that brick off of the start. There is a little bit of a third-party help coming in, but giving up the high ground advantage when you have rockets and only a gray pump, you better be cleaning up that fight right away. Even with the 266 tags, he's almost on the back foot, follows it up with 333s, has to know this player's low, and Martin honestly felt like it was a little bit of yeah, this one's over. I'm just kind of going to go for broke. Hopefully I can get the shot. But gifting it all over there to XSqueeze as he's going to take the rest of the loot. And honestly, he desperately needed that. That was a tough situation for both of those players to get in.
It was indeed. And speaking of tough situations, we got Mitra, who's in the water and cannot build right here. A little bit too deep is Putrick. Going to get a lot of damage off there as we see tags going down. We do know that Lecce went down 96. That is such a big thing. 4th place is out of the tournament for getting to first. So this is going to be where you start to see Aqua, Wolfies, and Janus make a little bit different of a play as Micho getting the high ground, getting a lot of damage off as well. Continued pressure here from him. He's going to go an SMG on through, and the mobile player named Putrick is not able to make it happen.
And he's not actual a mobile player, for anybody who's wondering. He just swapped his name to that. Micho, though, giving him a nice little default dance, as Dr. Lupo would say. Ba-ba-ba-da-da! But now we have Janus over here at the agency, just kind of swimming around. Needs to be careful here. Again, this is one of the areas when you're in a little bit of the deeper water. Kind of building can be a little bit difficult here. But Janus at 243. He knows that Lecce is down. He just needs to play safe. He wants to avoid absolutely everyone, and you can see him doing that right now. What is he doing? We talked about Mr. Savage being so good about doing this. You head dead center of the zone. Why do you head to the center of the zone? Because for the first 4 circles until we get to the 5th, the half in, half out, the safe zone will always be inside the previous safe zone. That means the more central you are, the more likely you are to pull the zone. And with Janus just hitting the first round of placement points there, all he is concerned about is being in this game for as long as possible. And he also finds a nice little elite chest there in a cabin by the docks.
As Alpha was right behind him, I was getting worried for a moment that something was going to happen. And speaking of getting worried here, I'm worried about Wolfies because he takes a lot of damage right there. We'll see if he's going to be able to turn it back and get these eliminations. We do see 140 effective HP. Those shots going to come through. He's turning it back. He's going aggressive. And this is where Wolfies operates so very well. Edit's coming through. He's trying to put the pressure. You see the layers, the angle control here from him is so good. We see this every single time. Anytime he's in a fight, he follows the players so well. Third party coming in, though, going to disrupt this side just a little bit. Allow a little bit of a reset there for both players, Wolfies and whomever he is fighting, as they're both trying to get shields. You see immediate pop of the mini and going in. He knows that player has to pop the big shield. Trying to phase on through. The ramp not going to be broken. It is going to be edited. Nice block there from Wolfies. A little bit of a misplay from the opponent. Wolfies owning this side. He is controlling the aggression here. He's controlling how this is working. As you see, continued pressure. Box to box to box. Nice pump shotgun tag there. Wolfies was looking scary for a moment, and now it's scary for the enemy player. Wolfies continuing this pressure forward. We'll see. He's going to be able to find that last little shot here as he's found the player out. He knows where he is, and you see not going into the box, going up and around so very well. Is in the box now, trying to get on through, trying to keep the pressure up. Player is going to go down here. Wolfies is going to get the elimination there to Kylie. There was no way he was going to let that one slip through.
Breaking the 200 mark, desperately doing everything he can to close the gap, but we know every single one of those fights is that much riskier, as we have Mitro and Mongol just desperately off the side here. Mitro hits a couple tags onto him. We'll see if he decides to chase the young phased lord. You can see him opting to just disengage right now. Sweaty Sands being a really, really awkward place to fight. Particularly, I just feel in general, there's big changes in elevation here, but Leneuf gets kind of caught. Not exactly sure what was going on there. Looks like he was looting or caught in an edit, but Mitro dropping the default dance on him again, letting him know, hey, what's up? But trying everything he can to climb himself up to a little bit of a higher pay threshold, as Sebi will go down there as well. And we're closing in. I don't want to say we're closing in on the next placement threshold, but I anticipate during this next rotation we'll see a decent number of players go down, as a number of them have to move, and players are getting fast and loose with the fights right now.
They are indeed, and speaking of that, we see Anas in a very critical situation here. This is another fight he is taking in the mid game that he's been aggressed upon. He's turning the offense back onto the player, though. He really needs to win this fight. If not, his tournament hopes are done. He is going to not be happy with it. The shots come through. He is going to get third party. Anas is out. He was doing so well, and then unfortunately falling there. He was in 12th going into that game, so gonna sit there for a while and wait, as Seventor going to be the one that takes him down.
With a nice little elim from him there. Seventor been relatively quiet today. We've seen him actually on the end of most of those other elims. Him and Cartooner in the fight. We do have Wolfies over here against Airwalks, the competitive veteran, the pro in so many other games, looking to end the Young Brits run here. Wolfies from XL trying to do everything he can, again, to catch up to Mr. Consistent. Janice right there, a good 59 tag through the edited wall. Puts him back on his feet. But however, Wolfies needs to be careful. Still only sitting at that 105 effective HP, recognizing that, opting to disengage for a second. Not sure if he recognizes his airwalks here, but one thing I'm starting to recognize a little bit about Wolfies too, that's honestly making me less confident in his ability to catch up. He's not resolving any of these box fights quickly. He's not really just getting in and kind of having them, and as we get later on in the game, the slower you are to resolve a fight, the more likely somebody else is going to come in and do something to alter your ability to win it. However, he is doing a good job making sure he's going through, recycling through whatever material is possible, but he still really needs a refresher here.
He does, and that's why he's going into this area onto the player. The box fight could come through here for Wolfies. He's putting that pressure down with the AR. For now, we'll see if he's going to get up close and personal where he likes to take the fight. Trying to find any edits, does not see any, so he doesn't get any information to go off of. He doesn't get that moment to pounce, and yet he's still going for it. That's the information he needed. The wall being broken, that player aiding him out, essentially knew that was going to cause Wolfies to come in. Shots going to come through. They're going to be broken. Wall not going to be taken, though. Wolfies continuing the pressure. They're trying to find this player out. Stair is Wolfies. Wolfies going in. Shotgun shot going to break the ramp. And that's going to be Airwalks eliminated there by Wolfies. And Wolfies could be putting on the run we may need to see for him to become the FNCS Invitational Champion.
Pushing up to 206 now. Again, all eyes on Wolfie, Aqua, and Janice. Those are the top three right now. Again, Janice has been the wire-to-wire winner. Andelix currently sitting in fourth. We saw Lecce end up going down. His run and day are completely over. Thomas HD in sixth, just on the outside looking in, but haven't really seen him pop off. Did see a nice little stat come up on the timeline that 60-plus point games in Europe have occurred in 0.36% of the games. So rooting for anyone who really isn't Aqua to be able to overtake is going to be incredibly difficult, if not a statistical anomaly. However, we've seen in the final moments that statistical anomalies happen all the time in Fortnite. and Thomas HD could end up being a part of that. Does have a decent enabling kit. Again, we talk about him prioritizing that heavy sniper and it really being an enabling factor for his game. We see Wolfies, Skale, Andalex over on the side, Blackie, Queasy, Kaiser also still in the lobby. Everyone just kind of hanging out. You see in the bottom right-hand corner, 4 seconds left on that next zone, so expect a solid amount of movement to come out once it's revealed, and we're going to have a decent amount of action happening kind of in this southeast pocket. Lots of players all going to be rotating right through the edge of the woods out into an open clearing.
And that's really good for Thomas because he needs the miracle to happen. Is a snipe going to come through? He does hit it, and we talked about his snipes. And he said, you know what? I'm going to give you one right there. Scally going down on rotation. Thomas looking to put together the miracle, looking to put the run together. He said, you know what? I need a 60-point game. I'm going to try to get one.
And that's really, like, you have to get picks like that. We talk about how Fortnite is a game of kind of managing your RNG, managing your loadout, getting everything you can, but it also comes down to having the ability to get picks, having the ability to catch a player in a rotation. Put yourself in a spot where you're looking for those picks, which is something Thomas does absurdly well. If you're looking to how to get better at your angles, 2 players I encourage you to watch in Europe would be Stompy in terms of his rifle angles in mid to late game rotation, and then watch Thomas over the course of the game and how he takes sight lines to prioritize his ability to catch people out. As Sweeze ends up dropping Swaggy there, carried by Kuna, not being able to get carried by Kuna in solos, just going down. I think that's the second time we've seen him catch a heavy sniper bullet to the face today, so tough day for him.
Tough day going down there, but still a great day nonetheless as we swap over here to see where Wolfies is again. He is one of the people that we have to keep our eye on. Is starting to turn online. 206 points. Nate gonna go down. Big name getting eliminated there in the feed as we see Wolfies on the edge of zone, has made the rotation, does have a cheeky little jump into this player's builds if he wants to. He could get aggressive, and that's not something I would not put by Wolfies. He sees another player down below. He's going to make the jump onto someone else. Shots coming in through it. Artor gets caught from above, and Wolfies putting another elimination in his pocket, now moving up to 210 points.
Let's go, Wolfies. That's what I'm saying. We've talked about it kind of sticking to your game plan. He wants to be aggressive. He gets most of his points from eliminations. You're not going to then turn around and drop a 60-point game by only playing for the late game. If he's able to string it all together, he could potentially challenge upward. But again, it's still all eyes on Janice and Aqua and whether or not they're able to just stay in this lobby. Andalex, again, currently sitting right around that top 5 as well, just trying to rotate in on the zone, right on the edge, but also starting to hurt on mats, rotating through almost all of his brick just to get this cheap little 1x2. So if he gets chosen here as the explodes end up coming in, this could be really awkward really fast. Another player comes in. Kaiser ends up going down. Great reaction shot there from Andalex. Gonna have a ton of builds left over now because that other player falling down, but he needs to expand and build out and get away from this lobby choosing. Otherwise, it could be the end of his invitational, and he's also not quite in the zone. Benji ends up tagging him out. He gets the last pick for it, and Andalex goes down outside of the top 50. His run is over. Another challenger to Giannis's throne goes down. It is Wolfies, Aqua, and Janice. Everyone else is just playing catch up as now we hop on board here with Aqua, trying to get a little peek, rotating through now. This could get awkward, but he's just right on the back of this player, not really looking to take a fight at this point. We've seen, again, we've talked about when he's successful, it's going for height, kind of in those 6 and 7 zone potentials. However, he catches a 3 quick tag in the back, 33, 33, 33, dropping him down to 101. Oh no, the lobby choosing, coming in, 76 HP coming out from Aqua, and he goes down! Tayson takes out the duo world champion. Aqua, the biggest challenger to Janice, has fallen, and now it is all on the young lord from the Britain trying to get out Wolfies. Can he close out, or will Janice be the one to take it away? Mr. Consistent, who has made nearly every single endgame, stands nearly alone with only the young wolf trying to challenge towards the top. CRR doing everything he can to get every elimination as we head in towards Holly Hedges. Game number 6 of the day. Game number 12 overall. The EU FNCS Invitational Grand Finals are coming down to this and whether or not Janice can hold off the charge from Wolfies.
And in a 100-player lobby, this is a 2-man individual race right here. It is Janice. It is Wolfies. They are vying for elimination points, placement points. So every second that Janice stays alive, every opportunity that he has to stay alive, like CR not letting that player do as he's going aggressive into the box. Tyler going down. But back to Janice and Wolfies. That is the point. They are in this game together. If Wolfies surpasses him in placement, surpasses him in eliminations, it could be his. But right now, Janice has a very, very big lead that Wolfies is going to need to play out of his mind to overcome, to surpass him. As we get a nice look at the lobby, we'll see, you see big names there. Cammy there as well. Moki getting elimination. So this game, this is it. The tension is building. Wolfies, Janice, who is going to come out on top?
And right now here on board with Cammy on the low ground, watching this entire stack side of Holly Hedge, the next 50-50 zone. Not a single player is pulled in that zone. Every single player has to rotate in. One player does have a nice little hop and skip, but everyone else is going to be sprinting into that open space across. We're going to see a number of players go down here in the rotation, and make sure you're keeping an eye in that top left corner. If Wolfies goes down, that is it. But if he starts racking up the eliminations, Janice could start to sweat. Again, it all comes down to this. This is the final game in EU. It's all on the line here. Who walks away with the $120,000 grand prize, and who walks away saying they are the best solo player? Chapter 2, Season 2 in Europe. That is a huge title to be taking away. As you see Cammy with a nice little rotation right along the edge of the hedge, desperately trying to rotate into the zone along these old builds, and honestly doing a good job of breaking up the sightlines here. You can see him thinking about trying to pull out a nice little quick scope, but not going to happen there as he gets into the safety of the zone and starts swapping over to hard mats.
And you'll see him now start to look back towards players to try to get any eliminations that he can. 39 players, just dropping pretty quickly. 2 more players going down. Left eye getting elimination. Rezon getting an elimination there. Pink going down here to Cammy. What a nice catch there by them. As you see, now starting to get the match that they need to make this in-game possible, to make their climb towards that upper echelon. They're not going to get first. There's not a mathematical chance for them. They need about 100 points, and there's no way they can get it as placement points already being divvied out. They need to eliminate almost the entire lobby. I want to point out, Wolfies in your middle of your screen is alive. Looking to see, is Janice there? We did not see him go down. Tayson there as well. As we hop on board here with Wolfies, the player trying to dethrone Janice, who has been on top almost the entire day. This is going to be very, very close.
He knows the amount of points he has to get. He knows it's got to be elimination heavy, and he's been pressing forward this entire game. He's been pressing forward this entire tournament. And also, don't forget, just because someone else is going down in that regard, all of these other pages we've seen, you get pay bumps moving up different thresholds. All of these other interactions are not only for pride and being able to say, hey, I took down this other player, but you can move up another tier. We've seen huge last-minute games, crew at the World Cup going from 66 to 6 in a single game. Players are able to make fantastic runs, but right now it's about the top 2. Wolfies looking desperately to try and push into the box here. Not going to be able to find it. Does not have the SMG that is so typical of players desperately trying to push in a box. However, he's hawking the backside here. Not going to find the pump as the player does close it off. And he also needs to start being aware of his lowering builds. Down to 65 player in his box. This could be the end of it, but Wolfie says, no, it's not the end. Sundown cleans up another elim, pushes him up to number 4, and then immediate launch pads out, says, I got to get out of dodge, wants nothing to do with that situation. Not taking the 50-50. Another fantastic disengage from Wolfies. The second one we've seen this game to get him out, get him reset, and keep the hopes of a dream alive. Finds the launch pad, knows somebody else set up a low pad, not quite going to find it, but does still have 2 floppers to be able to go off on the backside. Needs to be careful getting caught here. Looking for a pick, last of his floppers, so it's all down to it. 70 HP, 28 HP for him, 18 HP in a dream. Wolfies, will he be able to find it? He has to find a refresher. He only has the mini pot, and if he's not able to pick up something here, it's the end. He pushes forward, he gets one. Fanta goes down, and Fanta had picked up Queasy right before, so he gets all the mats from that. Wolfie's pushing into the top 20, trying to find the zone, and he turns around and he gets Frey, and not only does he get Frey, he gets a pair of floppers, but no other mobility. Has another stack there, but he has to find a launch pad. If he's not able to get in the zone, Janice will be the king of the Europe. He finds the shots in the zone, but the player covers up. 18 HP, 6 HP. He gets the siphon right in time time for it to convert over, desperately looking for any amount of floppers, but he can't find it. Wolfies does everything he can, but 13th place in 7 eliminations is not enough. Janus goes down in the top 10, but he'll go down a champion as our final lobby will now finally close out. Flick on the high ground, Kinzel on the middle. We got FaZe Mongrel also in there, a who's who of top EU players, but in terms of who is who today, it is all about Wave Janus.
And Janus coming through, 254 points was enough. That is it. Whoever ends up winning this is just looking to get more money and get to that top placement. But Janus is your victor, is your FNCS European Invitational champion, as we see Mongrel trying to get a game going in his favor. Does have floppers, does have the ability to make the play. His shots will come through momentarily here for him, and he is not going to connect there on the critical one. Getting dropped down, doesn't have a lot of builds. Nice shot there, 100 damage, but he gets tagged up for a lot. No more floppers to make it happy. His hand going to take him down. We'll see if Flick and 4ZR ahead can get to the top. Is Flick going to go down? We haven't seen much of him, but 184 points means that he's up near the top of the leaderboard. Does have the Mythic AR and the Grappler to make a play. Nice builds, but he doesn't have a lot remaining. You hear the builds being broken, shotgun shots being taken. Flick not losing a lot of HP. Door edited, and that's going to be the victory royale there for Flick with 4 eliminations.
Come on, Hen, haven't you ever heard of closing the gosh darn door? Flick will take advantage of that every single time, but a fantastic final game. The Wave counterpart closing it out just as Janus was able to close out the entire region. We're going to toss it on over to Zeke, who will take it away for us.
I'm right here, Sundown. Joke's on you. No, we're going to go to a house party just a little bit. Guys, that was a great game there. Final game out of EU. Now, of course, what we want to do is we need to take a look at the standings, right? There was a lot of stories unfolding there. We know that Aqua headed into that game with 217 points in second place. Did he hold on to that first place? Did Janus hold on to first? Let's take a look at the standings together.